Hi, and thank you for taking your time to watch this video, and thanks for your interest in the new machine that we've put together to enable you to bend our bendable hosel drivers, fairway woods, and hybrid heads. The reason I asked you to watch this video before you decide to buy this machine is so you understand exactly what's going to be involved if you do decide to purchase the machine or purchase the modification kit for an existing machine, to be able to do your own bending on our drivers, fairway woods, and hybrids. Okay, a little bit of a background for this as to how this all came about. A couple years ago, I just started having the thoughts and saying, you know, it'd really be nice to be able to bend the hosel on drivers, fairway woods, and hybrid heads, to be able to offer a wider range in fitting specs to golfers for the lie angle, for the face angle. Okay? If you think you can bend the hosel of a driver, a fairway wood, or a hybrid for loft, you can't. Okay, that's a very confusing issue. We did a whole nother video that I would welcome you to go find on our YouTube Tom Wishon Golf channel, or you can find it on our website where we explain the difference between bending the hosel on irons for loft and lie, bending the hosel on woods, hybrids, and drivers for lie and face angle. Okay, a little bit of this confusion has come about, of course, because of the advent of the adjustable hosel driver that came into the industry. Okay, all of the adjustable hosel drivers have a sleeve in which the hole for the shaft, the bore for the shaft, is made at an angle. And so that way, when you rotate the sleeve around the hosel, you're changing the angle of the shaft into the head. Okay, as the companies who make these things, claim, they say you're doing this to change loft. Okay, we have another video that explains that whole concept of how the adjustable hosel drivers work. If you're interested in that, you'll find it in the same place, in our website or our YouTube Wishon Golf channel with this. As we've said on those videos, the only way you get a loft change when you change the angle of the shaft into the head is by then turning the face back to a square face position after you've made the hosel sleeve rotation. Okay? When you do that, you eliminate face angle as a possible fitting spec for the golfer, because to get the loft change, you have to hold the face square all the time. Now, in bending a hosel, the reason that this is better from a fitting standpoint than the adjustable hosel driver is because with a bendable hosel, you can secure the specifications of face angle, lie angle, and loft angle individually on their own, separate, all on the same head. You can't do that with an adjustable hosel driver. Okay, if you decide you're going to use the adjustable hosel driver to change loft, you have to turn the face manually to hold it square. And as I said, in doing that, you then cannot have an open face angle or a closed face angle to help a golfer reduce a hook or a slice. In addition, once you roll that face back to a square position to get the loft that you're looking for, that lie angle is locked in to that loft because it's all part of that shaft that's at a different angle going into the head. Now, why is the bendable hosel better? Okay, because you can bend it into permanent positions and it stays put. So, for example, when we want to be able to bend the lie angle, we're bending the hosel in this direction, straight up, straight down, in a direction that's parallel to the face. When we want to bend the face angle, we're bending in a direction that's perpendicular to the face, parallel to the target line. So the reason we can get those specs, any line and any face angle, on the same head is because we can first make a bend, let's say in the face angle, the hosel stays put there, and then we can bend it up or down to whatever lie angle we want, and the face angle stays where it was when you bent it. You can't do that with the adjustable hosel driver. So that's the reason why I decided to dive into the world of different materials and alloys and come up with the right type of alloys for our titanium drivers, the 919s, for the fairway woods, for our 929HS and our new 950HC fairway woods, with a special softer steel hosel. And then for our hybrid models, the 775 HS and the 335 HL, again made from steel, but a softer steel for the hosel to enable you to bend it. Okay, we started out, began to offer the bendable hosels a couple of years ago. You knew that from seeing it in our catalog on our website, and we welcomed you to tell us what specs you want when you place the orders for the heads, and we'll do that for you. Again, how we get loft in these, we hand select from all the inventory to pick the head that has the loft within the small tolerance from the design loft of each head. Then when we have that head with the loft you want, we then can come over to the bending machine and we can bend for whatever lie angle, whatever face angle you want to go with that loft, and all three of those specs exist accurately, independently on the same head. Again, you can't do that with an adjustable hosel club. So, as we went on and we were offering the bendability, the bendable drivers and fairway woods and hybrids, a number of the club makers started to ask and say, hey, is there a way I can bend it? Can I take my bending machine and modify it? Or is there a bending machine out there that, will enable us to bend your woods? Okay, so I decided, well, let's go to work on that, see if we can provide that service. So as we go into this year, with the assistance of Mondaire Lethierry from Golf Mechanics, greatest machinery maker in the golf industry, we've created this bending machine with a modification kit, and the whole bending machine then will be able to bend our drivers, our fairway woods, our hybrids, and then any iron or wedge that you may see. Okay, we'd love to be able to say the modification kit could work with everybody's bending machine, but that's just too difficult, too impractical to be able to do that. Okay, so what we did was we chose a basic machine, a very high-end machine that Mondaire makes. GolfWorks primarily sells it. Some of you may have seen it in this form, in the black paint color, as GolfWorks sells it. Okay, this originally was made with an idea to be able to bend woods. Okay, problem is it didn't work, and the reason is because the back clamp was a slippery, straight surface plastic. And so, and then the sole pieces had two pad points that would put undue pressure in two separate areas of the sole. So the problem was with this that if you tried to bend the lie angle up or down, you could dent the sole. Or if you tried to bend the face angle, this thing would slip right out of the machine. It wouldn't hold it correctly. And so just like when we went to work here, we took an existing machine and we modified this, had to do, make a few new clamp ideas, but the whole idea is to be able to bend woods, drivers, and hybrids, you've basically got to have a clamp mechanism that envelops the head to hold it absolutely secure with no undue pressure points against any of the thin walls that are a normal part of all drivers, fairway woods, and hybrid head designs with that. So, using this basic same machine, to turn it into the ability to bend drivers, fairway woods, and hybrids, you will remove the normal base clamp and back clamp piece from it. So that will then leave you with just a post on the rear end and nothing on the base plate. Okay, what we've done with Mondaire's help is we've created two metal dams that fit into the machine. Okay, the first one, the large square one, is your sole dam, and it will just drop into the holes on the base of the machine. The rear holes for drivers and fairways, the front holes for fairways. Okay, we've also then created a back clamp piece which will wrap around and envelop the back of the head, and it too is a metal piece that then slides onto the back end of the machine. Okay, the kit that comes with the machine for bending our drivers, woods, and hybrids will involve 3 pairs of specially molded hard putty clamps. Okay, and these pairs are all pop in, pop out from the same metal dams. So you can pop in the driver sole mold, pop in the driver back mold, set it up in the machine, do your bending of drivers. Then if the next job is for bending a fairway wood, you simply remove the dam from that, pop in your fairway sole mold, same with the rear clamp, to pop that mold in for the back clamp for the fairway, and off you go. You're ready to bend the smaller fairway wood heads. Same for the hybrid with its separate set of clamps. Okay, for those of you who have this existing machine already, we will offer the 2 metal dams and the 3 pairs of molded clamp pieces for $200. Okay, if you're interested in the whole thing of a brand new machine that's going to be able to do drivers, woods, hybrids, any irons, and wedges to go with it, the whole machine with the dams, with the 3 pairs of molded clamps will be $1,500. That's a lot of money. And that's why I asked you to watch this video, so you could understand exactly what's involved here before you get into deciding to spend that kind of money to do bending on your own here. So the pop-in pieces can just drop into their point in the scale, or excuse me, on the base of the machine, or there's a little groove down the back side of this clamp piece, and that then enables you to slide this piece onto the screw, rotate it, move it back out of the way, the sole clamp piece goes in, and now you're ready to put the driver head, as we have the driver clamps in here, into the machine for that. Now, all woods, hybrids, you really need to have a shrink wrap bag on the head, okay? As we ship all of our heads with the shrink wrap, if you're going to do the bending, leave it on there when you put it into the machine. It just affords another level of protection from damaging the finish of the head as we're clamping the head. If you're bending an existing head, then get either, find some shrink wrap bags on the internet and buy them, and just stick them on the head, heat gun them so they're tight, or just simply pull off some saran wrap and wrap it all around the head so you have some protection for the finish on the head. Okay. Couple of words here, about this bending. You see this little apparatus on the front, and I'm sure you're somewhat familiar with it. Loft and light bending machines started to have these little specific measurement gauges quite a number of years ago. Any of you who've heard me talk about them, you know that I am completely against them because they are not accurate enough to truly measure the loft, the lie, the face angle on any club head put in the clamp. So why is it there? Because we're at least going to give you an opportunity to find out, use it to tell how much you have bent the head, okay? So when the head goes into the gauge, into this, you're going to pull the top club screw all the way up with the machine as part of the, adjustments for metal woods, comes a face pad clamp, okay? This face pad clamp just feeds through the uprights, has a spring, you pull that, rotate it, and the purpose of that is to touch flat against the center of the face. So as you clamp from the back, this affords, the lock on the opposite end of the face, with this. When putting the head into the device, the first thing we want to do, pull up on the back clamp so you create the space for the head to feed through, okay? This little lever right here will allow you to change the angle of this pad so that whatever the loft of the driver is, or fairway wood or hybrid, you can tilt this back to the point where it's then touching the center of the face, and then you can go ahead and just hand crank and lock it, okay? With each machine, we'll also be providing little thin rubber pads. You can't protect the heads enough when you're trying to bend brand new heads. And so the rubber pad will slip in between the back clamp and the back of the head. Takes a little bit of manual dexterity in the beginning to do that, and then you start to just simply crank this in to the head as you're pinching it against the front pad. Down comes the top clamp firmly, not as tight as you could turn it, because remember, we're only talking about a 1 millimeter wall thickness on the top of the head here with this, so firmly with that. A couple words about the driver here. Okay, the bore depth on the drivers of the 919 model goes below the point that the hosel will be bent, okay? And the reason I'm telling you that is because we always like to have, some kind of a mandrel, or you'll probably be using a piece of a shaft to stick into the hosel. Okay, there's two purposes of that. One, it also helps as you're putting bending force on the hosel, it helps prevent the hosel from being crimped in and deforming and going slightly out around. So you're going to want to put, a piece of shaft into the hosel while you're bending the head. We use, a solid steel mandrel. It's just, part of a gauge set for bore checking that I've had for a while, just as a protection there. The key point, whatever shaft piece you put in here, do not shove it all the way to the bottom of the bore. Let me repeat that. The protection shaft piece, do not shove it all the way to the bottom of the bore. Insert it in only in the top inch of the hosel, and that's sufficient. If you shove it all the way to the bottom of the bore and then bend it, you may not get it out because the bottom of the bore is below the point of the bend, for that. So just keep that in mind. The other function, of course, with having that shaft piece in is with the little gauge piece to slide up against the shaft. At least at this point, you can check a spec before you bend it, check it after you bend it, and find out how many degrees you changed it. Again, this is not intended to give you what the actual loft, actual lie, actual face angle is of that head. To know that accurately, you need this. You need one of these. And I'm sorry if you're sitting there and thinking, oh my gosh, this is getting out of hand here. That's why I had you ask you to watch me in this video, so I could have this conversation with you and so you could make the right decision as to whether you really want to invest in a machine to be able to do your own bendings on the drivers, the fairway woods, and the hybrids. I'm sorry, but if your job as a club fitter is to deliver the golf clubs with as accurate of a loft, lie, and face angle to meet the fitting needs of the golfer, then you need to know and need to be able to know that those specs are accurate. And I'm sorry, but when it comes to measuring loft, lie, and face angle, this is the only way you're going to know how to do it correctly. For us, in our work, and when we take orders for hand select and bending, we never use the gauges that come with the bending machines. I am always using the specs measuring machine. Now, different versions of this are around. You don't have to spend $2,000 on this. Good, well-machined head specs measurement machines are available for $600, $700, $800. Ouch, yeah, I know it's another chunk, but if you want to know and be able to measure the specs totally accurate in your profession, this is how it's done. I will also tell you this is always an offer that we have, here to take advantage of. If you have a specs gauge or if you're going to get a head specs measurement gauge, I will do the best we can to help you learn how to use it correctly. Send me a box of any number of different club heads, and I will measure them all on our gauges. I will mark all the specs. I will send them back to you. You put them on your machine until you get the same measurements, and then you're going to know how to fixture the heads for proper measurement of the specs. We won't charge you for that. Just include a note in the box. Tell me, with your return address, say, Tom, measure the heads, give me all the specs, and I'll be happy to do that for you. But please understand that when it comes to to reading and measuring exactly what the loft, the lie, and the face angle is, this isn't going to do it. What we left this on there for is to at least give you a way to tell how many degrees you did change when you did the bending on the heads. Okay, that's pretty much it that we've got today. A couple other points of things to go with this. The machine is $1,500 for the bending machine itself, not stand. Stand is extra because you might already have a stand that you can mount it on, okay? If you desire the stand, that's $139, okay? Bending bar of our choice to go with this is this straight line bar, okay? That's adjustable so you can keep it tight around the hosel when you're going into your bending, you know, right here for it. So the machine for $1,500 also includes the 2 metal dams and the 3 pairs of specially molded clamps. To go with that, all the existing other parts go with the machine to enable you to be able to bend any irons or wedges as well for that. Okay, now the operation in the bending itself, no different than what you have used when you have bent irons with this. Obviously, if we're bending the lie angle of the club, we're setting the bar parallel to the face, push down for flat, up for more upright, okay? The opposite side, bar in the 90-degree position to this, is pulling back, opening the face angle, bend back, close the face angle for that. Okay, now one point is the paint line is the determination point for the bottom of the bending bar on that. Don't stick the bottom of the bending bar over the paint. You may end up damaging that. Okay, you know, as that little tip right there. After you bend these and you pull them out of the machine, there probably will be just a little bit of a rub mark on the hosel, okay? We left the hosel as a satin polish because that is the easiest to clean up. You won't have a dent on the hosel. You just won't see that. But on the drivers, this satin finish, you can just get some double-aught, even in single-aught steel wool, and you can just rub around, circular around the hosel, and you'll easily get rid of the rub marks around there. On our fairway woods and hybrids in bending, these heads are all nickel chrome plated as part of the protection for the high strength alloy used in the high COR face. These won't mark. And I have to tell you, in the hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of our fairway woods and hybrids that I've bent, I've never even had to clean up a hosel. It doesn't, the chrome plating resists any marring from the bending bar, so you won't have a problem with that. The 335 HL hybrid, that's an investment cast softer stainless steel hosel with a satin polish finish. You'll treat it the same way with the steel wool, to just clean it up in a circular motion to get rid of the rub marks that may come from the bending bar. That's it. Thanks for your attention. Obviously, if you have other questions, you can give us a call. But I really appreciate you taking the time to sit down and let me talk to you a little bit about this machine so you can make the right decision for what you need in your business, in your shop. Please remember, if you decide this isn't for you to get into, we are always here to do the hand selects for loft, the bends for lie and face angle on any of our drivers, woods, and hybrids. And on the irons, of course, we're there to do any of the loft and lie bending as you may need for any custom fit orders that you may have. Thanks very much for your attention, and best wishes to you in your club fitting work this year.